Never let anybody see you sweat. So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Julie Alston claims her daughters were kicked out of their horse riding lessons, and she wants a refund. Teresa Blake says the girls were no longer welcome after they got into a fight, and one fell off the horse during the chaos.
Okay, Ms. Alston, you are suing Ms. Blake for $800 that you say she owes you as a refund for lessons she didn't give your children. Talk to me. What happened here?
That is correct, Your Honor. My name is Julie Alston. My daughters enrolled in horse riding lessons with Ms. Blake. So they signed up for 5 weeks of classes, 2 classes a week.
How old are your daughters?
They're 4 and 6. Wendy is 4 and
Little
Lee is
tykes.
6. They're
Okay.
little.
Okay, so what happens?
Well, the first day, I stayed and watched the lessons. Everything went wonderfully. The children were enjoying themselves. They
How
were
did the
laughing.
lessons go? Like exactly what did the children that young do?
Well, because they're so small, Ms. Blake told me that it was fairly standard for them to share a horse at the beginning just because they're so small and young.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, but for girls this little, most is about, getting them comfortable with horses, getting them respectful around horses. So since this was a private lesson, I had them on one horse because it's also easier for me to manage them from there.
Okay. What went wrong? Mom was there the first day and she thought everything went swimmingly. Did you not think that?
The first day they were a little bit rowdy, but they were well behaved under Mom's watchful eye. The second day things escalated. They were arguing a lot. They weren't listening to me. They weren't looking at me. And then on the third lesson, one child pulled the other child's ponytail and she fell off the horse as part of the argument. Thankfully, I was right next to them guiding the horse and I was able to catch her. So she wasn't seriously injured, but she could have been injured and my horse could have been injured. And for that reason, I terminated her.
She had a skin knee, Your
Hold on
Honor.
one second. This all happened when? And the second lesson?
The third lesson.
The third lesson. Okay. And did you tell her about it?
Yes, I
Was
told
she
her.
not there?
She was not there.
Was she there in the second lesson?
No.
Were there any problems in the second lesson?
There were problems with their behavior in the second lesson.
Did you bring them up to Mom's attention?
I didn't, because by the time she was there to pick them up late, I had started my next lesson.
Okay.
So I
What,
didn't
did you
have
call
an
her?
opportunity. I did not call her.
Okay, you could have though, right?
I could have.
Okay. What was the problem in the second lesson that apparently didn't merit you calling her?
Well, these children just didn't listen. And with animals this big, you can get kicked, you can get
Right, so
harmed.
what did they do that made you feel like they weren't listening in the second one?
When I gave them instructions, they would not follow those instructions.
I guess why didn't
like
you tell
holding
Mom?
on to the
So why didn't
lead.
you tell Mom, hey, we need you to stay here during the lessons?
Because she's a nurse and she's a single mother, and I figured she might have to work.
Well, she doesn't have to work for an hour. I mean, like she's getting errands done, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
The second and third lessons, I took that time to catch up on the errands of the week.
I mean,
yes.
we all know what you were doing. All right. On the third lesson, she says that she told you your kids aren't welcome here.
Yes.
Is that true or not true?
That is exactly true.
Okay.
When I came to pick up my children, it was clear that a situation had happened. Lee had a bleeding knee, and they came to me and they were clearly very upset and shaken. Clearly they had maybe not been spoken to in a very appropriate way. Perhaps voices were raised. That's what they expressed to me.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
And so I thought maybe it was all a misunderstanding. We can smooth this over. So I did bring them back for the fourth lesson.
I mean, but she told you your children aren't welcome. Why would you bring them back?
To be honest, I was just very hopeful.
No,
that
I
she
know,
would
but
take
why
them
would
back.
you not like pick up a phone and call her and try to talk her out of it? That's hopeful. This is brazen. And according to you, she dropped them off and was scurrying to her car.
Yes.
You had to stop her on the way to her car.
I was not scurrying.
You deny that. All right. Tell me how you say it happened.
When I got to the stables, Ms. Blake was speaking to one of her employees, and she seemed very busy, and the children ran into the stable. The other employees waved at them. Everything seemed fine. So I thought I could go, but she stopped me before I got to the car.
But she had told you that your children weren't welcome there. What about that transaction, oh, people waved at them, would make you think that you can go? It is actually you scurrying to your car. It's kind of...
I misread the cue.
Yeah, I'll say.
I did.
Because, you know, when someone tells you, your children are not welcome here, I don't know. I'm looking there. I'm not sure I'm reading the tea leaves right, but I assume, my children are not welcome there. That's what I assume. So before I drop them off and go to my car, I'm going to make sure my children are welcome there from the person who owns a place who said they weren't welcome.
Yes.
That's what I would do. So she then runs up to you, and what happens? She says what?
She blew her top,
Yeah.
Your Honor. She began yelling and screaming. She was waving her arms. There may have been profanity, if I remember correctly.
There was no profanity.
And she told me that I was a terrible mother, which cut me to the bone, because these little girls have been through so much, and I am doing my best as a single mother. I'm a nurse.
Did she say that in front of your
hard.
kids?
She said that in front of my children and another family and staff.
Okay.
And she also told me in a very threatening manner that I had better get off of her property or there would be trouble.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I'm next to the horse, guiding the horse with a lead, and they literally fought on the horse.
That doesn't sound like
fell
Hold
off.
on, wait a second. You weren't there. I would hear from you about what happened if you'd been there.
And later,
So he didn't know that I applied for this grant for
You
the
didn't tell him?
I didn't tell him.
Why
because
didn't you tell him? You didn't want the competition?
I thought he was too busy.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Julie Alston, who was suing Teresa Blake for horseback lessons gone awry.
You're suing for all of your money back.
Yes, Your Honor, because they never had proper riding lessons. It was less than half, it was less than a third of the lessons that we discussed.
So they had lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3, correct?
Yes, but in lesson 3, one of my children was injured.
Okay.
Which
so you don't feel you should pay for lesson 3.
And I don't feel that I should pay for any of the lessons because the way that I see it, it was a breach of our understanding.
Your understanding is that they would have the full panoply of lessons and they didn't get them.
Yes, which is
what
why I
happens.
paid-
Let's assume for a moment that your children are misbehaving. Does someone in her position have no recourse? They can't say.
Absolutely
this
not, Your Honor. I'm absolutely
right. So if they would
open.
have some recourse, what is their recourse? They wouldn't be able to keep any money for lessons they did give because they're saying, "Listen, I can't go on like this."
I would think that for a family-owned stable, of which there are many, the business is booming, I would think that $800 would be a drop in the bucket, and it isn't to me. It matters. And that's $800 that I could invest in another horse lesson for my children to get them over this fear that they've developed from this experience. They don't want to try anything new anymore. They're scared.
Okay. Tell me what happened when, according to you, one of them, which one pulled which one's ponytail?
Yeah, so Lee pulled Wendy's ponytail, and she reached back on the horse. I'm next to the horse, guiding the horse with a lead, and they literally fought on the horse.
That doesn't sound like
fell
anything
Hold
they
on,
did.
wait a second. You weren't there. I would hear from you about what happened if you'd been there. Go ahead.
One fell off. Thankfully, she was not majorly hurt. She did hit her leg. And then I had the other one come down. We put the horse away. I told them that they couldn't have lessons anymore because they weren't able to listen to me.
How far along in lesson 3 was that happened?
About 30 minutes into lesson
and
3
the
of a
lessons are how
90-minute
long?
lesson.
How long are the lessons?
An hour and a half.
Okay. And so can I, if you're standing there, you're the adult, you know the mom has left, you're the adult in charge of the kids. When the kids misbehave, like how is it you don't just at least finish the lesson?
Well, Your Honor, I'm not a babysitter.
Okay. No, I get that.
These are lessons for the community. I charge much more for competitive lessons for my athletes, for my older kids, for my adults. So frankly, it just isn't in this community-based
Did you call the
program.
mom if it's half an hour into a 1.5-hour session?
Yeah, I called her to come pick them up. She didn't pick them up until the end of the 90 minutes. But I did call her. I explained what happened. I explained I wouldn't teach them anymore, you know, and...
So why, let me ask you something. You made a decision. You don't want to teach them anymore, and that's fine, okay? Why does that have to cost her all the rest of that money? I mean, at a minimum, why wouldn't you refund the sessions they didn't have?
Well, this goes to my overhead cost, and I'd already filled up for the summer.
Yeah, but you're the one.
Wait.
You had decided that the 4- and 6-year-old were too much for you. So you had decided that these 2 children you could not handle, and that's fine. But why wouldn't she be entitled to the unearned portion back? Just because you don't want to? I mean, you don't want to is not a legal premise, you know? I know you'd rather keep the money. I'd rather keep the money.
For me,
but that doesn't mean I get to keep the money. So why would you not at a minimum be, she wants more than that, but I don't necessarily agree with her. I hear what she's saying, but I don't agree with her. But why would you not at a minimum owe her the money from the lessons you didn't give?
Because it wasn't my responsibility or in my opinion, my behavior, why I needed to terminate the lessons. If there was some reason that I misbehaved or wasn't able to provide the service.
They're 4 and 6. They're children. You know that they're going to misbehave, and you put them both on. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect them to have a fist fight on the horse. I get what you're saying. But you decided not to give any more lessons, and you have children, so you know how this works. You tell them X, and then they do Y, and then you tell them X again, and then they do Y, and then they turn 21 and you tell them X again. You know how parenting is, or how teaching is. I shouldn't say parenting because you're right, you're not a parent to them. Teaching is, that's what teaching is. So you made a decision, no, I'm not going to teach them. And that's fine, but on what planet would I not order you to return the unused portions? So I am going to order you to return a portion that is unearned, in my opinion, and that's $560. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, ladies.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $560.
I'm disappointed that I didn't get the full amount so that my children could start from scratch, but hopefully this teaches you to be a bit more understanding towards children when they're being children.
Hopefully your children don't ever get back on a horse.
Coming up.
And then I also see from your receipt that you sent it 5- or 7-day delivery.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, I would like to speak on.
No, I'd like you to
Michael.
answer my question that I just asked you.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. Michael Anderson claims his former college friend sabotaged his grant submission and cost him the prestigious award. Adrian Pratt says he had a better entry than the plaintiff and won the grant fair and square.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, you are suing Mr. Pratt for $10,000 that you say is rightfully yours because he sabotaged you. Tell me what happened.
So, yes, he did indeed sabotage me. See, we were good friends, but the thing is, I created a whole 3D model for my honor society scholarship, this grant. I've been working for it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and out of nowhere, he decides that he can just, he sabotaged me, and I'll tell you exactly how.
Tell me, let's backtrack a second. How do you two know each other?
So we actually met in college. We've been friends, but we've always been competitive, but it's always been friendly up until this point.
Okay, and then what happened?
Okay, so he didn't know that I applied for this grant.
You didn't tell him?
I didn't tell him.
Why didn't you tell him? You didn't want the competition?
I thought he was too busy.
It's a big cash prize. I wouldn't want the competition. Go ahead.
I knew that I needed to mail this package overnight because the deadline was the very next day. But the thing is, he kept insisting and insisting and insisting, so I was like, you know what, I was scared.
He kept insisting what?
About taking the package. Okay, so this is where I believe this was an invasion of privacy because I did not give him permission to open up my package. He said that it had to be repackaged, which I thought I packaged it well. When
do you first learn there's an issue and it has to be repackaged? Do you learn it at the time or after the fact?
He texts me.
Let me see those texts.
Okay, so here you go. I'll present that to you.
Hey, the mail carrier told me to repack your model with their packaging. It's packed and mailed. Cool invention. Good luck with the grant. Now, didn't you feel a little bit creepy?
At this point, yes, because I realized what happened. Now I realize, okay, I was still a little skeptical, but obviously at this point I didn't think that I was getting sabotaged.
Your response is, I thought I packaged it well. Thanks for helping me out. Can you send me a photo of the receipt so I can track my package and pay you back? Sorry, it was a hectic morning. I lost the receipt. Don't worry about paying me back. It's on me.
That was, exactly. And that's when I was
you got to be going nuts by this point.
I was going crazy because he
it
lost
says,
the
wow,
receipt.
I appreciate your generosity. Thanks so much. All right.
Yeah. So I was getting kind of frantic because nobody was hitting me back.
Nobody being what? The people from
the Honor Society.
Honor Society. They weren't
right.
saying,
They weren't saying
confirming that they had
anything.
received your package or anything.
Exactly, yes.
Right.
So then I started doing my own searching. I was like, I wonder if somebody won. Why wasn't all these questions were in my head. And then if I may present this, it's I see that he won.
Coming up.
I offered to do a favor for my friend.
Favor?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did me dirty.
You did him way dirty.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a dispute between Michael Anderson and Adrian Pratt over a sabotage grant submission.
So then I emailed the Honor Society, the head, and I was asking him, hey, did you receive my model? Did anything happen? And then here he actually says
your model came late.
It came late.
Your model was apparently sent 5 to 7 day delivery.
Yes, exactly.
And it actually got there 10 days later.
Exactly.
Okay. So over to you, Mr. Pratt.
Yes, sir.
What happened? Because I hear him testify that he told you this needs to be overnight. And then I also see from your receipt that you sent it 5 or 7 day delivery.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, I would like to speak on
No, I'd like you to
Michael.
answer my question that I just asked you. Why did you send it 5 to 7 day delivery?
It was due to the cost, and which
said
I
the
had
cost.
never.
Matter.
The guy told you that he would pay for it, and he asked you to send it overnight.
I was incredibly busy that day, Your Honor. I had meetings.
It takes the same
I had
amount
let
of
him
time
know.
to send it 5 to 7 days as it does to send it overnight.
Your
It's
Honor,
the same signature.
I offered to do a favor for my friend.
Favor?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did me dirty.
You did him way dirty.
Your Honor, if
you
I may.
opened up his package, why?
I was told to do so.
Okay, so you open up his package and then you snoop around and see what it is. You had not applied for this scholarship.
I hadn't.
Okay, so you decided that you would apply for the scholarship, create a 3D model, and you sent yours overnight, right? Because it was due the next day, he says.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay.
I can promise you there was no ill intent at all.
You are so small. You sent his 5 to 7 days late because you're so busy, you're telling me, but then you managed to create a 3D model and win a contest the rest of that day and sent yours overnight.
Judge Milian's verdict when Justice for the People returns.
There is no one within the sound of this voice who doesn't 100% know that you did that man dirty. Now, your lawsuit is for $10,000, but, that is a bridge too far because you're asking me to assume you would have won. And I can't assume you would have won. There were hundreds of submissions, But I can award you money for the violation of privacy. So now I've got to figure out what's that violation of privacy worth. I think it's worth $10,000. Verdict for the plaintiff.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $10,000.
I can't believe we've been friends for this long, and you can just lie straight to my face.
You're worthless.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna see you again.
Exit this way, please.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.